Chelsea fans often comment about our poor form the last couple of seasons, and this video is to go into the truth and the reason as to why we've done that, why we've underperformed, and why we're no longer at the levels which we were used to for 2 decades since 2004. The truth is, the squad that won the Champions League final in 2021 has been decimated, has been ripped apart. The life and soul of the squad has been just taken away over 3 seasons and transfer windows, and it is shocking. If I told you that there's only 3 Chelsea players left from that squad that won the Champions League final, and I'm talking about the substitutes, obviously players that weren't involved as well, you'd find it hard to believe, maybe quite shocking, but it will give you a realisation as to why Chelsea have struggled to reach the levels we were so used to. Maybe you have a bit more of an understanding as to why, because of the massive turnover, the massive change around, and that winning mentality completely gone. Just 3 players remain. Kepa Arrizabalaga, who's not even been with us and doesn't even want to be with us anymore. He wants to go to Real Madrid. Reece James, still at the football club and our captain. And Ben Chilwell, at the moment, still at our football club and our vice-captain. Those 3 players are the only ones that remain. And it is just an unbelievable stat, I have to say. When I saw it, I was completely shocked. But then thinking about it, and you think about everybody else that left the squad over those 3 seasons, and you sit and have a bit of a level of understanding as to why we've been nowhere near challenging for Champions League or for titles since that happened. Since we won the Champions League final, we then won the Club World Cup, the Super Cup in the following season because just a couple of players left. But the massive turnover that happened after that is quite shocking. So let's look at our transfer history. As per transfermarket.co.uk, I will link it in the description below. But just have a look at this. So Chelsea's team that started the Champions League finals, you can see here, Edouard Mendy in goal, Cesar Azpilicueta, Thiago Silva, Tony Rudiger and Reece James, and Ben Chilwell, the back 5, with James and Chilwell as wing-backs. Jorginho, N'Golo Kante, middle of midfield. 2 number 10s in Kai Havertz and Mason Mount, and the centre-forward on the day was Timo Werner. On the bench, Kepa Arrizabalaga, Willy Caballero, Marcus Alonso, Andreas Christensen, Kurt Zouma, Emerson, Christian Pulisic, Mateo Kovacic, Callum Hudson-Odoi, Hakim Ziyech, Billy Gilmore, and Olivier Giroud. So let's just look at Chelsea's transfer history since the final was won. In that first season, that summer, Tammy Abraham left the football club, Kurt Zouma went to West Ham, notable, and obviously the players that were involved in the squad. Olivier Giroud went to AC Milan. The following season, 22-23, we saw Callum Hudson-Odoi named in that squad for the Champions League final leave on loan. He went on loan to Bayer Leverkusen. Marcus Alonso was released on a free transfer. He joined Barcelona. Andreas Christensen, the same, free transfer. He joined Barcelona. Tony Rudiger, a starter in that final, free transfer to Real Madrid. Jorginho, a starter in the final. He joined Arsenal. And then Timo Werner, as we all know, went back to RB Leipzig for 20 million euros. Some big players there. 3 players that started the Champions League final. Werner, Jorginho, and Tony Rudiger. And then to last season's summer window, and some big players left the football club. Named on the bench, Hakim Ziyech joined Galatasaray on loan, and he's since made that deal permanent. Cesar Azpilicueta emotionally left the football club. He joined Atletico Madrid on a free transfer. N'Golo Kante went to Al Ittihad on a free transfer, and he's linked with being a return back to the Premier League this summer. Kepa Arrizabalaga went to Real Madrid on loan. Players, again, named in that Champions League winning squad. Callum Hudson-Odoi sealed a permanent deal to Nottingham Forest. Edouard Mendy, a starting goalkeeper in that Champions League final, went to Al Ahly. Christian Pulisic, named on the bench in that final, went to AC Milan for 20 million. Mateo Kovacic, on the bench in the final, joined Man City. Mason Mount, a starter in the final, joined Man United. And Kai Havertz, who scored the winning goal in the Champions League final against Man City, he joined Arsenal. So to this summer so far, and a couple of players that were starting and named on the bench actually made their deals permanent. As stated before, Hakim Ziyech has made his permanent move to Galatasaray on a free transfer. And Thiago Silva, the captain who started that final and then went off injured, he made his return to Brazil to Fluminense on a free transfer. So think of all those players that have left the football club and just think about the core, the soul, the life of that squad ripped apart, decimated over 3 seasons and replaced with youngsters, with data-driven talent or data-driven signings, I should say, based on talent and what they could evolve to be. And you then sort of get an idea of what Boehly and the consortium are trying to do at Chelsea. Invest in real world-class potential to see them nurtured and to grow together as a squad. And that's the idea. That's why there's been calls for patience. That's why there's been calls for people just to calm themselves their expectations and just accept the process. Now, what we saw at the end of last season, of the last 14 games, was brilliant from us, and we finished 6th and qualified for Europe, which, let's face it, we would have taken after what happened the season before. This summer, we're going to look for a couple more additions, and this squad will have another year on together. They would have grown together, another year older, more experienced, and we hope that Chelsea can kick on with the new manager, Enzo Maresca. But you look at Thomas Tuchel, you look at Graham Potter, you look at Frank Lampard, you look at Mauricio Pochettino, what they've had to deal with, taking over a squad or dealing with a squad that's been decimated and trying to fit everything together with players that didn't want to be there, players that were playing that shouldn't necessarily have been playing. And it just gives you more of an understanding as to why Chelsea have suffered over the last couple of seasons. I just wanted to point this out because I saw the stat the other day and I'm thinking that's just scandalous. 3 players from the whole squad that was named for that Champions League final left at the football club, and only 2 of the 3 want to actually stay and be here, with Kepa wanting his way out. Hopefully, this has sort of just made you maybe sit up and take a bit of notice as a Chelsea fan to maybe just think, okay, maybe I was a bit harsh with my criticism. Maybe I was a bit harsh and I was a bit abrupt with my judgment on where we were, where we have been the last few seasons. And just to take stock, get on board with what we're trying to do, even though we don't like it, and go again. But one thing I will say at the end of this video is what's happening to Trevor Chalobah is just unbelievable. It's unbelievable. I can't believe it. And there'll be more on that to follow here on the channel. So, guys, let me know what you think of the video. Has it made you sit up and take notice? Did it shock you? Let me know what you think about the video. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. If you have, drop a thumbs up, subscribe and hit the bell for notifications. And I'll see you back on the channel very, very soon. Take care. Keep the blue flag flying high. Remember, carefree. See you soon.